What's up, guys? I want to tell you about the scariest experience of my entire life. Even though I did 4 years in the Marine Corps, active duty, infantry, I just got out here a few months ago. This happened about 5.5 years ago, and I'm still frightened to death today of this experience I had, okay? So I'm going to jump right into it. I went to Kicking Horse Job Corps in Montana. You guys probably heard of it, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But it's a trade school in Montana, and I went to get my diesel mechanic certificate up there and my high school diploma, right? And it's on a native reservation. Okay, so I get out there, I make a couple friends, my buddy Michael and my buddy Taylor. All right, and everyone there, as soon as it wasn't long after I got there, people started saying, you don't go on the reservation past midnight. Okay, you don't go on the reservation past midnight because there's something out there. There's this black shadow, right? You're going to see a black shadow. And the way it goes is if you turn away from it and you start walking back to the dorms, he's going to follow you, he's going to stalk you, and then that's it. He's just going to follow you and stalk you, and then that'll be the end of it. But if you turn around and you start running, he's going to jump on your back and he's going to be with you. Right? He's not going anywhere. He's going to stay with you for however long, life or whatever, right? I always thought this was a bunch of BS because people tell me stories about how the sink was left on when they got out of the shower and how this door slammed, you know, but those things can always be explained. Maybe you forgot to leave the sink on, or maybe you forgot when you left the sink on, or maybe a draft came through and shut the door, or whatever, you know, whatever. It could always be explained, it seems like. What happened to me is unexplainable, right? What happened to me, I could not explain, and it's the only reason I believe. It's the only thing I've ever run into that I could not explain. We got there, native reservation, like I said, and you don't go on the res past midnight because of all that. Because you're going to see that guy, you're going to see that shadow out there. Me and my buddy Michael and Taylor. Michael's, you know, he's Native American, and like I said, he didn't believe any of this crap, right? He didn't believe in any ghosts, he didn't believe in any spirits, whatever. So we're gonna test this theory. We're gonna go out on the reservation past midnight. Worst mistake of my entire life. So the way it works is you have to jump over a fence and you have to cross this log to get on the reservation, right? So that's what we did. It was past midnight. It's probably 12:10 when we started walking out there. We jump over the fence, we cross the log, and we start walking. And we probably got maybe 1.5 miles out there on the reservation. 1.5 miles in, we're just talking, kind of lost track of the whole reason we went out there, right, to be scared. And we keep walking, we look up, so we're about to go up this little hill, and we see this shadow on top of the hill. And we look at it, and we're like, you know, what is that? And I tell my buddy, he's like, hey man, do you see that up there? And we're thinking, oh, maybe it's just a bush or something, you know. So we start walking forward, you know, walking towards it, and it takes a step towards us. And we're like, yeah. We kind of stop and we look at each other, we're like, we're probably just seeing things, whatever, you know. So we start walking again, another step towards us. At this point, we're starting to get a little bit creeped out. So we turn around and we start walking back to the dorms. We're like, whatever, man, we're probably just seeing things, whatever. But nobody was, you know, brave enough to look behind us as we're walking back to see if it was still back there. So we're all pretty scared, kind of talking still, but not looking back at all. You know, we're too creeped out for that. We probably get about 150 yards from the fence, so we got to jump over to get back to the dorms, right? 150 yards, and my buddy Taylor finally gets up the balls, and he looks behind him. He looks behind them, and he goes, guys, that thing's still behind us. So we turn around, we all look, and we see that thing. We see a black shadow, you know, about 100 yards away from us, and it stopped, and we're stopped, right? So instantly we turn around, and we did what we shouldn't have done, but we did. We booked it, and we started running. We ran, we crossed that log, we jumped that fence, turn around, whatever that thing was is gone. Completely gone, right? And we're all freaking out. We know the stories. We know what happens. You know, if you run from me, he's gonna jump on your back and stay with you. He's gone, but no one feels different. You know, we're all just like, yeah, maybe, you know, we're getting late and we kind of spooked ourselves, we kind of creeped ourselves out. So if that's all that happened, then yeah, I wouldn't be too nervous. This wouldn't be a story I'd be telling you right now. But it's what happened after that makes it creepy. Okay, so we all go back to the dorms. We go back to the dorms. Me and Michael sleep in the same bay area in the same room, and then Taylor sleeps in a different one, so he didn't see any of this. But we all go back to the dorms. I lay down in my corner bed because I have a corner bed, and then Michael lays down in his corner bed, right? And from our corner beds, we can see each other the way it's set up. I can't sleep. My buddy Red Dog is passed out though. However, he managed to pass out. He passed out, and out of nowhere, he puts his hand out with his eyes closed, and he leans up in bed. And then he steps out of bed, and he walks out of the bay with his arms straight out still, which was really weird to see. Didn't know really what to think of that, but I'm like, maybe he's just got to go to the bathroom, you know, or whatever the case may be. Maybe he's going out there for some reason. It's just kind of weird that he had his arms stretched out, and his eyes were closed, right? Really weird. And this part kind of scared me the most, I think, but I hear this loud screaming. The loudest screaming you can possibly imagine. You probably have ever heard anybody scream, and it's not my buddy's voice. It's not Michael's voice. It's something deep and really creepy. And I jump out of bed, instantly shocked, like, didn't know what to think, you know. And my buddy Red Dog comes sprinting back into the bay with his arms straight out still. Right, sprinting. He got about to the middle of the bay. He's going towards a window, a corner bed window that was open that nobody was in. And he has his arms straight out. Like I said, he's probably just maybe a foot above the ground. Right, a foot above the ground, and he's slowly sliding across the carpet. After he got halfway through the room, foot above the ground, slowly sliding across the carpet. I'm still in shock for a second. I finally snap out, run over to him, shake him, and say, dude, what's the matter? What happened? And he just snaps out of it real quick, and he starts shaking his hand. He goes, dude, my arm's numb. My arm's numb. At this point, I'm like, man, what? And you gotta tell me what happened, dude. Like, you know, I told him the whole gif. Like, you came right into the room, your arms straight out, sliding across the ground, scared the hell out of everybody in here. The whole dorm's up at this point, you know, obviously, and we're all freaking out. But from his story, from his side of the story is, when we got back, we all went to bed, he fell asleep, and then something, a black shadow, came to him in the middle of the night, and it grabbed his arm. And he said unwillingly, he leaned up out of bed, stepped out of bed, and went out of the room with it, and was leading towards out of our dorm, right? Leading straight out of the dorm. He got to the entrance of the dorm, and he immediately, you know, he finally broke loose or whatever. However he got away from me, he broke loose, and he started running back to the bay area. As soon as he got to the bay door, that thing appeared in front of him, grabbed his arm, started pulling towards that window. He started pulling and fighting back, and that thing was holding him above the ground, or, you know, holding him just a foot above the ground, where he's sliding on the carpet towards that window. And that's when he said that he just remembers after that, me shaking him snapping out of it, his arm being numb, and on his arm you could see fingerprints. You could see fingerprints where something was grabbing him, and these fingerprints wrapped all the way around. So whatever this thing was had big hands, and it was huge, creepy. After that, Michael left. And, you know, the next day Michael left, and he didn't come back for a week. I'm surprised he came back, but he did. He came back, and from that point on, you know, I got out of Job Corps probably a week after that, because I graduated and got all my stuff. And that will always be the scariest story thing, you know, story, whatever you want to call it, that's ever happened to me, because unexplainable. People don't just slide across the ground, a foot from the ground, getting dragged by their hand by nothing. Alright, and right now I got chills and my heart's beating just from telling you guys this story. So please comment, tell me what you think of the story, tell me if you have any, you know, experiences, anything like it. And yeah. I'm just curious to see what you guys have to say. All right, thanks for listening.